So we are starting chapter 19, the verse 1 to 26, fight between Hiranyaksh and Varadev. Maitreya Vacha Avadharya Viranchasya. Avadharya means after hearing. Viranchasya means of Brahmaji. Viranchayi is the name of Brahma. Nirvyalika. Nirvilyak is a very important word. Free from all sinful purposes. Prabhupada used to sometimes translate it pretension. Amritam vachaha, nectarian words. So Brahmaji's nectarian words, which were free from sinful purposes, were heard by Lord Varadev. Prahasya, he smiled. Prabhupada is heartily laughing. Prahasya. Prema garabhena, laden with love. Tata apangena so agrihit. Tad apangena, so those words, nectarian words, free from sinful activities. Apangena, with a glance. Saha, Supreme Personality of Godhead, agrihit, accepted. So yesterday the chapter ended with the request of Brahma to the Lord Varadev that it is now the demonic time and their power increases, so it is better that Abhijit Muhurat is over, so you kill this demon, don't play anymore. So in response to that, Maitreya said, after hearing the words of Brahma, the Creator, which were free from all sinful purposes and as sweet as nectar, the Lord heartily laughed and accepted his prayers with glance laden with love. So here is a purport. This purport is adding to the list the activities of the divine and demonic people. The word nirvalika is very significant. The prayers of demigods or the devotees of the Lord are free from all sinful purposes. But the prayers of the demons are always filled with sinful purposes. Now, when we are reading this, better we remember at least 3-4 differences we have from last 2 chapters. Anybody can recollect the memory, what we have discussed, difference between the demonic and divine nature people? Yes, first was
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The
Yes.
first one, the divine, they have the scriptures, bona fide scriptures. whereas the
they accept
demonics have
authority.
divine
They accept authority,
authority.
and
then the demonic will defy authority.
defy authority. Very good. This was the first thing. Obeying authority and defying authority. And authority means scripture or representative of God. Okay. And what was the second?
The divine will concern about spiritual upliftment,
Yes.
whereas the demonic were on physical and material upliftment.
Yes, this was the second very important Prabhupada said. The divine, they are interested in the spiritual upliftment of the civilization, while the demonic, they are material and physical upliftment of the society or civilization. Yes. Was something third also? I think there was some third.
The third one, divine, they will engage everything in the service of the Lord, whereas the demonic, they will exploit the resources of this universe for
Yeah,
their own.
that's so divine use all the resources in the service of the Lord. Demonic exploit it for their sense gratification. And this is the fourth one. The divine, their prayers are free from sinful purposes, while the prayers of the demonic are for sinful purposes. So in these chapters, actually, there is a comparison between the divine and demonic civilizations. I think we can add one more. When the divine culture increases, there are pious activities increases. When demonic culture increases, impious activities or disasters prevails. Is it okay? Maybe some small things or more, but this is at least this is the one thing I noticed, which we should from these last three chapters, most purports are focusing on this concept. The demon Hiranyaksha become powerful by driving a bone from Brahma, and after attaining that bone, he created disturbance because of his sinful intentions. The prayers of the Brahma and other demigods are not to be compared to the prayers of the demons. So there are many prayers in the Bhagavatam of the demigods or the divine people. Prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, prayers of Dhuru Maharaj, prayers of Brahma and other demigods, they are free from sinful motives. Their purpose, there means demigods' purpose or divine people's purpose is to please the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Lord smiled and accepted the prayers to kill the demon. Demons were never interested in praising the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they have no information of Him. Go to the demigods, and in Bhagavad Gita this is condemned. Persons who go to the demigods and pray for the advancement in sinful activities are considered to be bereft of all intelligence. So this can be the one more point in this comparison. The demons are never interested in praising the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Instead, they approach the demigods for material purposes. Even if they have information of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they decline to approach Him. It's not possible for them to get their desired boon from the Supreme Lord because their purposes are always sinful. It is said that the dacoits in the Bengal, Prabhupada is giving a practical experience which he has seen in Bengal. It is said that the dacoit in Bengal used to worship goddess Kali for fulfillment of their sinful desire to plunder others' property. But they never went to the Vishnu temple because they might have been unsuccessful in praying to Vishnu. Therefore, prayers of the demigods or the devotees of the Supreme Godhead are always untinged by sinful purposes. Chakravarti Pad writes, Brahman's words were truthful, nirvyalika. Since he said that he had given a boon to demon, his words were filled with love, amritam. Since he told the Lord to kill the demon before twilight. This indicates that those words were relished by the Lord. The Lord smiled. Out of prem for me, Lord thinks, one can lose all memory. Since Brahma teaches me the personification of time, to choose the correct time to kill the demon. Why Lord smiled? Lord smiled out of prem for me. Brahma, he forget. What he forget? And teaches me, who am I? Personification of time. And he said, choose the correct time to kill the demon. So therefore Lord smiled. Brahma is teaching me. It is out of love. Yes. Lord accepted those words with a glance filled with love. By this the Lord indicates, yes, what you say is true. Just as you instruct, I will kill the demon now. However, I will kill him in the evening today, since I will fully satisfy myself with fighting with him. Because these demons have come just to give me the satisfaction in fighting spirits. So I will relish that till evening. Verse number 2. Tatah sapatanam mukhatas charantam akuto bhayam jaghano tapatya gadaya hanava asuram akshajaha. Akshajaha. Ja means born, aksha means from senses, and here that sense means nostrils. The Lord, who had appeared from the nostrils of Brahma, sprang and aimed his mace at the chin of his enemy, the Hiranyaksha demon, who was stalking fearlessly before him. The Lord leaped up and with his club attacked the demon on his lower cheek. Lower cheek is called Hanu, and the lower cheek is broken, so he is called Hanuman. As the demon moved in front of him fearlessly, Lord struck the demon on the lower cheek. The Mukhata means in front of, and they struck him on the lower cheek, Hanu. The broken cheek is called Hanuman. Akshaja means he who appeared from Brahma's nose. Verse number 3.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, we are talking about Neelvara here, right? Not the Shvetvara.
This is what I am saying. This is, you go back and refer to the two Vara who killed the Hiranyaksha and who, refer to that. When I was reading, I saw, this said the first Vara appearing from the nostrils. And which chapter is this appearance of Lord Varadev? Chapter 13? Which is
13.
Chapter 13. And in chapter 13, anyway, I think at the end we will find this. When I was reading, I was again thinking like that, because that description, as far as I remember,
Shvetvara, Prabhuji.
yes, Shvetvara and Neelvara, and two different Manvantar, the Swayambhu Manvantar and Chakshus Manvantar, and they appeared from different source, and one killed the Hiranyaksha. But Hiranyaksha was not in the first Manvantar, it appears. Again, we will refer to those verses. So Chakravarti Pathsai writes, the club of the Lord, struck by the club of the demon, fell from the hand of the Lord, and rolling about, fell to the earth and glowed. This falling of the Lord's club was most astonishing. This is the next verse. Struck by demon's mace, however, the Lord's mace slipped from his hands and looked splendid as it fell down whirling. This was miraculous, for the mace was blazing wonderfully. So Lord's mace fell. Then what is the next? Next is this. sa tada labdha tirtho api. Sa means demon, Hiranyaksha. Tada labdha tirtho api. He got a best opportunity to kill the Varahadev. Na babhadhe nirya yuddham, because he followed the rules of the combat, single combat. One should not attack the person if he has no weapon with a weapon. Manyam na mrdhe dharmam. So even though the demon had an excellent opportunity, labdha tirtho, to strike his unarmed foe without obstruction, he respected the law of single combat, thereby kindling the fury of the Supreme Lord. Prakopayam. Prakopayam means fury, anger. Chakravarti Pad writes, though the demon had the opportunity, he did not strike the Lord. The reason is given. He accepted the rules of fighting. He made the Lord angry by this. Because you know that I am in trouble by making my club fall by the strength of your arms. You display your sense of dharma and do not strike me. See, in a moment's time I will take the club along with your life. This is the mood of Varahadev. Verse number 5. Gadayam apavidhayam ahahare vinirgate manyamastad dharmam sunabham chasmradda vibho. As the Lord's mess fell to the ground, and a cry of alarm arose from witnessing crowds of gods and rishis. The personality of Godhead acknowledged the demon's love for righteousness and therefore invoked his Sudarshan Chakra. Sunabham, Sunnabham. Sudarshan Chakra is called Sunnabham. Disco. Chakravarti writes, when the club fell from his hand, it is not the same as his bow falling from his hand in the fight with Shalva. Comparison is that with fighting with Shalva of Krishna, where other motives are inferred. Because Hiranyaksha was actually an associate of the Lord, and thus equal to the Lord. They had equal strength. Thus it was possible for the club to fall from the hands of the Lord. Without equal strength, there would be no pleasure in fighting. Thus this action increased the enthusiasm of the Lord to fight. It is thus an ornament of the Lord, not a fault. Since the Lord, filled with love for his devotee, many times accepts defeat at the hand of a devotee. This is indicated in the next verse, which explained that the Lord recognized his devotee. The Lord remembered his chakra, and previous to that, he remembered his club. That is indicated by word cha. Verse number 2 to 6, Hiranyaksha overthrew Lord's mess. So then what happened? So this is the last verse of this section where Hiranyaksha overthrew Lord's mess. As the discus began to revolve in Lord's hand, and Lord, contendent at close quarter with the chief of his Vaikuntha attendant, that is the word here and the verse is, see, Swaparshad Mukhyena Swaparshad. So this Hiranyaksha was his own associate, Swaparshad. With the chief of his Vaikuntha attendant, who had been born as a Hiranyaksha, a wild son of Diti. There issued from every direction strange expression uttered by those who were witnessing from the airplanes. They had no knowledge of the Lord's reality, and they cried, "May victory attend you! Pray, dispatch him! Play no more with him." Tatra samasam swasti te amum jahiti. So they were saying like this. They were not knowing what is the cause. Chakravartipad writes, the Lord had in his hand the chakra which was eager, arriving in a hurry. Oh, the Lord is remembering me, Chakra thought. There are three versions. Okay, this is nothing. Seeing the Lord who was associating with the demons and his devotee, the Deva spoke. So now the next section of the verses, verse number 7 to 12. Yes, 7 to 12. The Lord overthrew Hiranyakshi's mess. Now just the opposite. Satang nishmayata rathanga agarato vyavasthitam padma palasalocanam vilokya chamarshah paripultendriyo rushasvadantachaddam adashachvasan. When the demon saw the person of Godhead, who had eyes just like lotus petals, standing in position before him, armed with his Sudarshan disc, his senses were overpowered by indignation. He began to hiss like a serpent. He bit his lip in great resentment. Chakravartipad writes, first he saw the chakra, and then he saw the Lord present before him. He bit his lip. Verse number 8. Karaladanshtas chakshurabhyam sanchakshano dahanamiva abhipullatya swagadaya ato asitya ahandadharim. The demon, who had fearful tusks, stared at the person of Godhead as though to burn him. Springing into the air, he aimed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming at the same time, "You are slain." You are dead is the one man meaning of this word, sanchakshanaha. The another meaning is you are known to me. Verse number 9. Padasvena tam sadho, padatvena sam sadho. Varadev used his leg, even left leg. Bhagavan Yagnah Shukraha, the Supreme Lord who was the form of sacrifice as a Varadev. Leelaya Mishattaha Shatroho Praharad Vatarang Sam. O saintly Vidru, O saintly Vidru. Which is the word for saintly Vidur? Sadho. Padasvena tam sadho. O saintly wizard, while his enemy looked on, the Lord in his boar form, enjoyer of all sacrificial offering, Yagna Sukra, playfully knocked down the mass with his left foot, even as it came upon him with the force of tempest, like a blow of the air. Wind using the left foot, okay. Verse number 10. Ahachayudham adhasva घटस्व त्वं जिगीषसि इति युक्तस्तदा भूयस्ताडयन् व्यन्दद्दभृशम्. The Lord then said, take up your weapon and try again, eager as you are to conquer me. Challenged in these words, the demon aimed his mace at the Lord and once more loudly roared. Verse 11. तामस आपततिं वीक्षय भगवान् समवस्थितः जग्राह लील्यः प्राप्तं गरुत्तमान् इव panangim means she serpent. Garuttaman, Garuda. When the Lord saw the mass flying towards him, he stood firmly where he was and caught it with the same ease as Garuda, the king of the worlds, would seize a serpent. Pangani is a she serpent, female snake. Verse number 12, last of this section. His valor thus frustrated, the great demon felt humiliated and was put out of countenance, and means his face changed. He was reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered by the personality of Godhead. His mace fell down. The Lord said, you pick your mace again. He never obliged. This is demon. Now the next section, verse 13 to 19, say verse 13 to 16. Failure of Hiranyak's various attacks. He now took the trident, which was as rapturous as flaming fire, and hurled it against the Lord, the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Dhritarupaya, Yagnaya Dhritarupaya. Even as one would use penance, which means austerity, for the malevolent purpose, means a purpose to damage somebody against the holy Brahman. The demon threw a lance with the 3 points trident, which, like the blazing fire, was eager to devour the Lord in the form of boar, just as person performs sacrifice to kill a Brahman. Abhichar, the word is abhichar. They do some magical tricks or abhichar to kill somebody. So this weapon was, this trident was some celestial given by some demigod, which has some personification, and in front of Lord it could not function. He threw the lance, which was eager to devour everything like a blazing fire with the flames, at the Lord, who was the form of sacrifice. An example is given to show how this act was improper. And this act was improper, like somebody performed some yajna to kill some Brahman. verse 14. Tada ojasa daityama bhatarpitam chakasad antah kha udiran didhiti chakrena chichedah mishat nemina harihi yatha tarakshaha patataram udhitam. Now, because it was celestial weapon, therefore Lord respected that weapon. An example is given. Like Garud respected the thunderbolt of Indra by giving a piece of his feather. So, held by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his disc, Sudarshan, which had a sharp-edged rim. Even a Indra cut off a wing of a Garuda. So just as Indra cut off the wing that Garuda abandoned, it means already Garuda threw it down and then it was cut by the thunderbolt. Using the sharp blade of this chakra, his chakra, cut the trident thrown by the greatest demon among demons with force, whose brilliance lit up the sky. Srila Prabhupada writes the story when Garud was attacked by Indra with the thunderbolt. So this is the story in the purport. The context of the reference given herein regarding Garud and Indra is this. Once upon a time, Garuda, the carrier of the Lord, snatched away a nectar pot from the hands of the demigods in heaven in order to liberate his mother, Vinita, from the clutches of his stepmother, Kadru, the mother of the serpents. On learning of this, Indra, the king of the heaven, hurled his thunderbolt against Garuda. With a view to respect the infallibility of Indra's weapon, Garuda, though otherwise invincible, being the Lord's own mount, dropped one of his wings, which was shattered to pieces by a thunderbolt. The inhabitants of the higher planets are so sensible that even in the process of fighting, they observe the preliminary rules and regulation of gentleness. In this case, Garuda wanted to show respect for Indra, since he knew that Indra's weapon must destroy something. He offered his wing. So Lord has nullified the celestial weapon of Hiranyaksha. Chakraparti Pad has written same thing. The Lord cut up the trident, which radiating great light within itself, even lit up the sky, or which radiated light which spread in the sky, with the sharp blade of his chakra, just as Indra cut off the wings that Garuda had already rejected. Now verse number 15. The demon was enraged when his trident was cut to pieces by the disc of the personality of Godhead. He therefore advanced toward the Lord and roaring aloud struck his hard fist against the Lord's broad chest, which bore the mark of Srivatsa. Then he went out of sight. So here also there is a small purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srivatsa, a curl of white hairs. Prabhupada writes here white hairs. Other places it says golden hairs. The Srivatsa is a curl of white hairs on the chest of the Lord, which is a special sign of his being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri means Lakshmi, Srivatschana, which are tuft of, here Prabhupada writes white hairs. Other places it says golden hair on the left side of the chest of the Narayan. In a Vaikuntha or in Golok, Vrindavan, the inhabitants are exactly of the same form as personality of Godhead. And Vaikuntha they are four-handed, in Golok they are covered. But by this Srivats on the chest of the Lord is distinguished from all other people living on that planet. Vrakani means spirit. Striking the Lord on the chest and understanding that it was impossible to gain victory by direct fighting, he utilizing his illusory power and disappeared. So Hiranyaksha disappeared, knowing that he cannot conquer the Lord by directly fighting. Verse 16. Hit in this manner by the demon Vidura, the Lord who had appeared as the firstborn, did not feel the least quaking in any part of his body any more than an elephant would then struck with a wreath of the flowers. So this fist of the demon on the chest of the Lord was like offering flower garden. Not painful, Srila Prabhupada writes. As previously explained, the demon was originally the servitor of the Lord in Vaikuntha. But somehow or other he fell as a demon. His fight with the Supreme Lord was meant for his liberation. The Lord enjoyed the striking on his transcendental body, just like a fully grown-up father fighting with his child. Sometimes father takes pleasure in having a mock fight with his small child. And similarly, Lord felt Hiranyaksha striking on his body to be like flowers offered for worship. In other words, the Lord desired to fight in order to enjoy his transcendental bliss. Therefore, he enjoyed the attack. Now, next session, verse number 17 to 22. Illusion created by Hiranyaksha. The demon, however, employed many conjuring tricks against the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of Yoga Maya. At the sight of this, the people were filled with the alarm and thought that the dissolution of the universe was near. The fighting enjoyment of the Supreme Lord with his devotee who had been converted into demon appeared severe enough to bring about the dissolution of the universe. This is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the wavering of his little finger appears to be a great and very dangerous movement in the eyes of inhabitant of the universe. Asraja means he created. They thought the universe was being destroyed. Next. The fiery wind began to blow from all directions, spreading darkness, occasioned by dust and hailstorm. Stone came in volleys from every corner as if thrown by machine guns. Next. The luminaries in the outer space disappeared due to the skies being overcast with the masses of clouds, which are accompanied by lightning and thunder. The sky ran pus, hair, blood, stool, urine, and bones. Chakravarti Pad writes, from this description it is understood that the Lord, absorbed in pleasure of fighting, went beyond the auspicious time indicated by Brahma. It means the Abhijit Muhurat was over. Now when demon is able to do his magical tricks, it means the demonic time has arrived. This is the Chakravarti Pad's comment is, it means demonic time has arrived. Verse 20. O sinless Vidura, mountain discharge weapons of various kinds, and the naked demonesses armed with tridents appeared with their hair hanging loose. So witches appear there. And after that, 21. The cruel and savage slogans were uttered by the host of ruffian yaks and rakshasas, who all either marched on foot or rode on the horses, elephant, and chariots. Last verse of this section. The Lord, the personal enjoyer of all sacrifices, now discharged his beloved Sudarshan, which was capable of dispersing the magical forces displayed by the demon. Tripath. This word tripath is in the verse. Prabhupada is purport on the word tripath. And there are three meaning of word tripath. Pradushkritanam mayanam asurinam vinashyat sudarshan astram bhagavan prayunktaha daitam tripath. So Tripath Srila Prabhupada is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. To destroy the illusion created by the demon, the Lord, the form of Dharma, uses deer chakra. So the word of Tripath, the Chakravarti path called Dharma. So Srila Prabhupada has a purport about Tripath. Even the famous yogis and demons can sometimes enact very magical feast by their mystic power, but in the presence of Sudarshan Chakra, when it is let loose by the Lord, all such magical jugglery is dispersed. The instance of the quarrel between the Durvasa Muni and the Maharaj Ambarish is a practical example in this matter. Durvasa Muni wanted to display many magical wonders, but when the Sudarshan Chakra appeared, Durvasa himself was afraid and fled to the various planets for his personal protection. The Lord is described here as Tripath, which means that he is the enjoyer of three kinds of sacrifice. This is one meaning. Tri means three type of sacrifice. Whereas in Bhagavad Gita, Lord confirmed that he is the beneficiary and enjoyer of all sacrifice, penance, and austerities. Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. The Lord is the enjoyer of three kinds of yajna. What are the three kinds? In Bhagavad Gita, these three kinds of yajna is called Drivya Yajna. Yajna of goods, sacrifice of goods, Drivya Yajna. Then the Yoga Yajna, sacrifice of meditation. And lastly, the Jnana Yajna, sacrifice of philosophical speculation. This is chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. Drivya Yajna, Yoga Yajna, Jnana Yajna. Those on the path of Jnana, Yoga and Karma all have to come to the end, to the personality of Godhead. Vasudev Sarvamiti. The Supreme Lord is the ultimate enjoyer of everything. There is the perfection of all sacrifice. So this is the meaning of three path. What are three types of sacrifices? And now Chakravarti path called three path as a dharma. It says there are three variations here, okay? The object is in the genitive. He who possesses 3 feet of dharma, beginning with austerity, is called Tripath. Like we have 4 legs of the dharma: austerity, purity, non-violence. So this is a Tripath. The one meaning of Tripath is 3 legs of the dharma. His personification of dharma, or it can mean he who is the 3 oblation of sacrifice. So 2 meanings of the Tripath. 3 type of sacrifice are the 3 legs of the dharma. Now next section 23 to 26, death of Hiranyaksh. Tadaditeha sambhavat sahasa hrideve patho sumarantyaha bharturadesham sanachashrikka prasusuvrave. At that moment, At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of the Hiranyaksh. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyap, and blood flowed from her breast. So here is the small purport. At Hiranyaksh's last moment, his mother Diti remembered what her husband had said. What he said? Although her sons would be demons, they would have the advantage of being killed by the personality of Godhead himself. She remembered this incident by the grace of the Lord, and her breast flowed blood instead of milk. Now, Prabhupada's purport. In the case of the demon's mother, the blood could not transform into milk, but it flowed down her breast as it was. Blood transformed into milk. To drink milk is auspicious, but to drink blood is inauspicious. Although they are one of the same thing, this formula is applicable in the case of cow's milk also. So what Srila Prabhupada is writing is the demonic people, because they have no affection to their children, they even kill their children, so their blood is not transformed into the milk. So now milk is coming from the breast of Diti. Verse number 24. When the demon saw his magical forces dispelled, he once again came in the presence of the personality of Godhead Keshav, and full of rage tried to embrace him within his arms, to curse him. But to his great amazement, he found the Lord standing outside the circle of his arms. So, any example is in your mind? Somebody want to embrace somebody to curse him to the dust? Any example in your mind? Yes? And this is one example we need. The other example we need, he tried to embrace the Lord, but Lord appears to be outside his arms. Such other example?
Trinavarta?
Huh?
Demon Trinavarta?
Not exactly. Dhritarashtra wanted to embrace Bhima and curse him. So Krishna immediately told Bhima, no, give you a statue to him instead of you. So when the statue of Bhima was given to the Dhritarashtra, he embraced and he actually cursed the statue, and then he was crying, I have killed my son. Then Krishna said, no, Bhima is already said. So he was so powerful, he wanted to curse him. There are some demons in a Mughal army also. They used to, this one who was fighting with Chhatrapati Shivaji, the tall 6-7 feet, what is his name? He used to embrace somebody and just to kill him by pressing. So this is a special technique. They have a power. They suffocate them actually. So that is, he wanted to do like that with the Lord. And Lord was outside his arms. It means Lord is a universal form. Nothing is outside Lord. So how can somebody embrace him? Like Yashoda was trying to tie the child, where there's a one verse which says, how can somebody have a rope around the waist of a Lord who is the universal form? How can somebody can do that? So these are the two incidents coming to my mind when we are reading these verses. And here the purport says, in this verse the Lord is addressed as Keshav because he killed the demon Keshi in the beginning of creation. Keshav is also the name of Krishna. Krishna is the origin of all incarnation. Keshav Dharta Narari Rupa. Keshav Dharta Sukar Rupa. So Prabhupada's first point is making is Keshav means Krishna, and all incarnations are coming from Krishna. So Krishna is the origin of all incarnation. It is confirmed in Brahma Samhita that Govinda, the Supreme Person of Godhead, the cause of all causes, exists simultaneously in its different incarnation and expansions. The demon's attempt to measure the Supreme Personality of Godhead is insignificant. The demon wanted to embrace him with his arms, thinking that with his limited arms he could capture the Absolute by material power. He did not know that God is the greatest of great and smallest of small. Now, good purport, Prabhupada is writing. No one can capture the Supreme Lord or bring him under control. But the demonic person always attempts to measure the length and breadth of the Lord. By his inconceivable potency, the Lord can become the universal form as explained in Bhagavad Gita, and at the same time he can remain within the box of his devotee as their worshipable deity. There are many devotees who keep a statue of Lord in a small box and carry it with them everywhere. Every morning they worship the Lord in the box. The Supreme Lord Keshav, or the Personality of Godhead Krishna, is not bound by any measurement of our calculation. He can remain with his devotees in any suitable form, yet he is unapproachable for any amount of demonic activities. Though the demon put the Lord between his arms and squeezed up guha manaha, he saw that Lord was situated beyond his grip. Verse number 25. Tam mushtibhi viniggantam vajara sarai adhokshajaha harena karanamule an. This is the killing of the Hiranyaksha by karena karanamula, at the root of the ear. Yatha twastram marudha patihi. Twastram, tree, marudha patihi, the Indra, and this twastram is son of Tushta, which is Virtasur. The demon now began to strike the Lord with his hard fist, but Lord Adhokshaja slapped him in the root of the ear, even as, just like the Indra, Lord of the Maruta, hit the demon Virta. The Virtasur is Twastram, means son of Tushta, Prajapati, or Aditya Tushta. Srila Prabhupada writes, the Lord is explained here to be Adhokshaja, beyond the reach of all material calculations. Akshaj means measurement of our senses, and Adhokshaja means that which is beyond the measurement of our senses. Last verse of this section. Though struck indifferently by the Lord, the conqueror of the all, the demon's body began to wheel. His eyeball bulged out of their sockets, his arm and legs broken, and the hair on his head scattered. He fell down dead, like a gigantic tree uprooted by wind. Yatha Nagendro. Nagendro means the gigantic tree. Lolito Nabhaswata, uprooted by wind. Srila Prabhupada writes, it does not take even a moment for a Lord to kill any powerful demon, including Hiranyaksha. The Lord could have killed him long before, but he allowed the demon to display his full extent of his magical feast. One may know that by magical feast, by scientific advancement of knowledge, or by material power, one cannot become the equal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. His inconceivable power, as displayed here, is so strong that the demon, despite all his demonic maneuvers, was killed by Lord when the Lord desired simply by one slap. Next session. 27 to 32, Brahma and others praise Hiranyaksha and also Lord Varadev. They prayed Hiranyaksha that how fortunate he is that He saw Lord when he was at the last moment before leaving the body. Kshatau shanam tam akuntha varchasam karaladanshram paridashtadachadam ajadayo vikshaya shashnoragata aho imam kono labhet samsitam. Aja, Brahma, and other arrived on the spot to see fearfully tusked demon lying on the ground, biting his lip. The glow of his face was yet unfaded, and Brahma admiringly said, "Oh, who could meet such blessed death?" Now Srila Prabhupada's purport. Although the demon was dead, his bodily luster was unfaded. This is very peculiar because when a man or animal is dead, the body immediately becomes pale and luster gradually fades and decomposition takes place. But here, although Hiranyaksha lay dead, his bodily luster was unfaded because the Lord, the Supreme Spirit, was touching his body. One's bodily luster remained fresh only as long as his spirit soul is present. Although demon's soul had departed his body, the Supreme Spirit touched the body, and therefore his bodily luster did not fade. Any other example where by touch of the Supreme Lord, some demon's body was unfaded or fragrant or something else?
Kubja.
Kubja never died. She was happy.
Sorry, I was talking about fragrant. Okay.
Kubja, after making Kubja beautiful, the all ladies of the Mathura said, "We have not to go to the beauty parlor. The beautiful boy can make everybody beautiful." So all women become favorable to Krishna by that.
Putana's body was.
Putana, yes, Putana, when her body was burned by arrangement of the Nanda Baba, there was fragrance of the incense in 10 course, which means almost 20 miles. It is like yajna. There it says because the body was touched by Krishna, so it was very fragrant. The individual soul is different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he quits his body is certainly very fortunate, and therefore personality like Brahma and the other demigod eulogize the death of the demon. Now, verse number 28. Yama yogino yoga samadhino raho dhyayanti hi lingada asatoho mumukshaya tasyaisha daitya rishabha padadhato mukham prapashyam stanum utasarajaya. Brahma continued, he was struck by the bare foot of the Lord, whom yogis seeking freedom from their unreal material bodies meditate upon in speculation and mystic trance, while gazing on his countenance. This crest jewel of Diti's son has cast off his mortal coil, which means body. So there are two purposes here. Struck by the foot of the Lord, upon whom yogi meditated in samadhi in solitary place, with a desire to become free from the subtle body, a product of the matter, the best of the demon gave up his body while seeing the glorious face of the Lord. Now Srila Prabhupada's purpose is, the purpose of yoga is to give up material body. So Srila Prabhupada's purpose is about the aim of yoga. And so the process of yoga is very clearly described in this verse, Srimada Bhagvatam. It is said that the ultimate aim of the yogis and mystics who perform meditation is to get rid of the material body. Therefore, they meditate in secluded place to attain the yogic trance. The yoga has to be performed in a secluded place, not in a public or in the demonstration on the stage, as nowadays practiced by the so many so-called yogis. Here, yoga aims at ridding one of the material body. Yoga practice is not intended to keep body fit and young. Such advertisements of so-called yogis are not approved by any standard method. Particularly mentioned in this verse is the word yam, or unto whom, indicating that the meditation should be targeted on the personality of Godhead. Even if one concentrates his mind on the form of the Lord, there is also yoga. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, one who concentrates his mind constantly in meditation upon the personality of Godhead in one of his many varieties of the form is the first class yogi. And he can easily attain trance simply by meditating upon the form of the Lord. If one is able to continue such meditation on the Lord's form at the time of one's death, one is liberated from this mortal body and is transferred to the kingdom of God. This opportunity was given to the demon by the Lord, and therefore Brahma and other demigods were astonished. In other words, the perfection of yoga practice can be attained by demon also, if he is simply kicked by the Lord. Now there is one small, because sometimes it says by hand of the Varahadev and by the leg of the Varahadev. So Chakravarti Pad writes, in this verse, it mentioned that the Lord's foot struck the demon. In verse 25, it mentioned that the hand of the Lord struck the demon. Since the two front feet of boar are also his hands, there is no contradiction. So two front fends of foot, the two front feet, they are hands, and two hind feet, they are legs. Verse number 29. Etau tau parshadau asya shapad yatav asadgatim punaha katipyohi sthanam prapatasyetiha jamabhi. These two personal assistants of Supreme Lord, having been cursed, have been destined to take birth in demonic families. After a few such births, they will return to their own position. Verse number 30. Deva uchuhu namo namaste akhil yagna tantve. Now they are offering prayers now to the Varahadev, Brahma and others. Namo namaste akhil yagna tantve stitoho grahita malatsatva murtye drishtaya hato ayam jagatam aruntudas tvatapada bhaktya vayam isha nirvirta. The demigod addressed the Lord, all obeisance unto you. You are the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and you have assumed the form of boar in a pure goodness. So Srila Prabhupada's purport is on Shuddha Sattva. For the purpose of maintaining the world, you appear in the pure goodness for the purpose of maintaining the world. Fortunately for us, this demon who was a torment to the worlds has been slain by you, and we too, O Lord, are now at ease in devotion to your lotus feet. The Devata said, we offer repeated respect to you, the distributor of all sacrifices, who have accepted the form of pure sattva for protecting the world. By good fortune, you have killed this tormenting demon. Srila Prabhupada's purport says, material world consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. But the spiritual world is pure goodness. It is said here that the form of Lord is pure goodness, which means that it's not material. In the material world, there is no pure goodness. In the Bhagavatam, the stage of pure goodness is called Sattvam Vishuddham. Vishuddham means pure. In the pure goodness, there is no contamination of the two inferior qualities, namely passion and ignorance. The form of the boar, therefore, in which The Lord appeared as nothing of the material world. There are many other forms of the Lord, but none of them belong to the material qualities. Such forms are none different from the Vishnu form, and Vishnu is the enjoyer of all sacrifices. The sacrifices which are recommended in the Vedas are meant to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In ignorance only, people try to satisfy many other agents. But the real purpose of life is to satisfy Lord Vishnu. All sacrifices are meant to please the Lord. The living entities who know this perfectly well are called demigods, godly or almost God. Since the living entity is part and parcel of Supreme Lord, it is his duty to serve the Lord and please him. The demigods are all attached to the personality of Godhead, and for their pleasure, the demon who was source of trouble to the world was killed. Purified life is meant to please the Lord, and all the sacrifices performed in purified life are called Krishna consciousness. This Krishna consciousness is developed by devotional service, as clearly mentioned here. So purified life is meant to please the Lord. How to purify? How can we purify our existence?
By, by, by chanting of mantra.
Yes, so by chanting of the Maha Mantra, we will purify our existence. How is that? Cheto Darpan Marjanam.
Yes.
And then all the activities then become so purified activities. And that is Krishna consciousness.
Yes. Yeah.
Maitreya Vacha, verse number 31. Evam Hranyaksham Asayah Vikaramam Sadvahi Tva Hariyad Shukara Jagam Lokam Swam Akhanda. This is Akhandita Utsavaha. This word is in a purport Prabhupada has discussed. One word here is Adi Shukar and also Akhand Utsava. Akhandit Utsava. Samedhitaha Pushkara Vrishtadibhi. Pushkar Vrishtadibhi, lotus tree, Lord Brahma. Sri Maitreya continued, after thus killing the most formidable demon Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari, the origin of boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all the demigods headed by Brahma. So Prabhupada's purport say, the Lord is spoken of here with as the origin of boar species, Sukra, as stated in Vedanta Sutra Janmadhyasya. The absolute truth is the origin of everything. Therefore, it is to be understood that the 84,000 species of bodily form originate from the Lord, who is always Adi, or the beginning. And in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addressed Lord as Adyam, means original. Similarly, Brahma Santa says Adi Purusham. Oh, now the second part. Indeed, in Bhagavad Gita 10:8, Lord himself declared, Mata Sarvam Pravartate, from me everything proceeds. In this situation, Lord assumed the shape of boar to kill the demon Hiranyaksha and pick up the earth from the Garbha ocean. Thus he became Adi Sukar, the original boar. In the material world, a boar or a pig is considered most abominable. But the Adi Shukar, the Supreme Person of Godhead, was not treated as an ordinary boar. Even Lord Brahma and other demigods praised the Lord's form as a boar. This verse confirms the statement in Bhagavad Gita that the Lord appears as he is from his transcendental abode for the sake of killing the miscreant and saving the devotees. By the killing of demon Hiranyaksha, he fulfilled his promise to kill the demons and always protect the demigod headed by Brahma. The statement that the Lord returned to his own abode indicate that he has his own particular transcendent residence. Since he is full of all energies, he is all pervasive in spite of his residing in Golok Vrindavan. Just as the sun, although situated in particular place within the universe, is present by its sunshine throughout the universe. Although the Lord has his particular abode in which he resides, he is all pervasive. The impersonalists accept one aspect of Lord's feature, the all pervasive aspect, but they cannot understand his localized situation in his transcendental abode, where he always engaged in fully transcendental pastimes. Specially mentioned in this verse is the word Akhandit Utsava. Utsava means pleasure. Whenever some functions take place to express happiness, it is called Utsav. Utsav, the expression of the complete happiness, is always present in Vaikuntha Lok, the abode of the Lord, who is worshipable even by the demigod like Brahma. To say nothing of others less impardoned entities such as human beings. The Lord descends from his abode to this world, and therefore he is called Avatar, which means one who descends. Sometimes avatar is understood to refer to an incarnation who assumed the material form of flesh and bone, but actually avatar refers to one who descends from higher regions. The Lord's abode is situated far above this material sky, and he descends from that higher position, thus he is called avatar. So there are some words in this purport. What is the meaning of avatar, what is the meaning of Akhandit Utsav, and what is the meaning of Adi Sukar. So these three things are in this word. Pushkar Vishtar. Pushkar Vishtar means Brahma whose seat is lotus. Verse number 32. Maya yatha nuktam avadite harihe krita avatarasya sumitrah cheshtitam yathaha hiranyakshah udara vikramo mahamrde kiryavan nirakrita. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, I have explained to you the personality of Godhead's coming down as the firstborn incarnation and killing in a great fight a demon of unprecedented power as if he were just a plaything. This has been narrated by me as I heard from my predecessor spiritual master. I have recited to you the story of the Lord as the boar avatar in which Hiranyaksha was killed by the Lord in a battle like a plaything, just as I have heard from the Guru. So Prabhupada's purport about the Parampara. Here the sage Maitreya admits that he explained the incident of killing of Hiranyaksha by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a straight narration. He did not manufacture anything or add interpretation, but explained whatever he had heard from the spiritual master. Thus he accepted the bona fide system of parampara, or receiving the transcendental message in disciplic succession. Unless received by this bona fide process of hearing from a spiritual master, the statement of an acharya or preceptor cannot be valid. It is also stated here that although the demon Hiranyaksha was unlimited in prowess, he was just like a doll for the Lord. A child breaks so many dolls without real endeavor. Similarly, although the demon may be very powerful and extraordinary in the eyes of an ordinary man in the material world, to the Lord killing such demon is no difficulty. He can kill millions of demons as simply as child play with the dolls and breaks them. Chakravarti Pad writes, Yathanuktam means I have said what the Guru has said and did not go beyond that. Or it can mean I have gained the meaning of what the Guru said and then I have spoken it to you, O Vidura. Now next section. Verse 33 to 36, glories of Lord's activities. Verse number 33, Sutta Vacha. The Sutta Goswami continued, my dear Brahman, Shata. My dear Brahman means Sutta is telling to the Sanakadi Rishi. Shata means Vidur. The great devotee of Lord achieved the transcendental bliss by hearing the narration of pastime of Supreme Personality of Godhead from the authoritative source of sage Kaushavara, the another name of Maitreya, and he was very pleased. So here there are the two names of the Shata Anandam Param Lebhe Maha Bhagavato Dvija Kaushavara Akhyatam. Kaushavara is Maitreya and Kshata is Vidura. If anyone wants to drive transcendental pleasure by hearing the pastime of Lord, he must hear from the authoritative source as explained here. The Maitreya heard the narration from his bona fide spiritual master. Oh, anybody can refresh the memory. What is the parampara of Maitreya he has told in third canto? Parampara of Maitreya, anybody remember?
It starts from Lord Sankarshan.
Sankarshana, okay.
And
Sankarshan to Kumara.
yes,
Kumara to
Brihaspati and
Sankhyan.
Sankhya, yes, buddy.
Sankhyan to Brihaspati and Brihaspati to the
Parashar, Brihaspati and Parashar together.
now Brihaspati and Parashar both. From Brihaspati it goes to the demigods, and from Parashar it comes to the human. So this is the disciplic succession of Maitreya. So in one way this is Kumar Sampradaya. So there it is coming from Kumara. One become an authority simply by presenting whatever he has heard from his spiritual master, and one who does not accept bona fide spiritual master cannot be an authority. This is clearly explained here. If one wants to have a transcendental pleasure, he must find a person with authority. It is also stated in Bhagavatam that simply by hearing from an authoritative source with the ear and heart, one can relish the pastime of Lord. Otherwise, it is not possible. Sanatana Goswami therefore has specially warned that one should not hear anything about the personality of God from the lips of non-devotees. Non-devotees are considered to be like serpents, as the milk is poisoned by the serpent's touch. So, although the narration of the pastime of Lord is as pure as milk, when administered by the serpent-like non-devotees, it becomes poisonous. Not only does it have no effect in transcendental pleasure, but it is dangerous also. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has warned us that no description of the pastime of Lord should be heard from Mayavadis or impersonalists. It's cool. He has clearly said, Mayavadi Bhashya Sunile as Sarvanas. If anyone hears the Mayavadi interpretation of the pastime of Lord, or their interpretation of Bhagavad Gita, Srimada Bhagvatam, or any other Vedic literature, then he is doomed. Once one is associated with impersonalists, he can never understand the personal feature of the Lord and his transcendental pastime. Sutta Goswami was speaking to the sages headed by Sonak, and therefore he addressed them in this verse as Dvija, twice born. The sages assembled in Naimsharanya hearing Srimad Bhagavatam Sutta Goswami for all Brahmanas. But to acquire the qualification of Brahman is not everything. Merely to be twice born is not perfection. Perfection attained when one hears the pastime and activities of Lord from bona fide source. Now last part of this chapter, verse number 34, still two more verses, that is the Shruti Phal. Anyesham punya shlokanam udam yashasam satam This satam means devotee. Upashrutyah bhavena modaha Shri Vatsa Ankasya Kim Punha. What to speak of hearing the pastime of Lord, whose chest is marked with Shri Vats. People may take transcendental pleasure even in hearing of the works and deeds of the devotees, Satam, whose fame is immortal. When one attains such bliss on hearing the stories of the famous devotees such as Yudhishthira, Uttam Shloka means Yudhishthira. The word Uttam Shloka is used for Yudhishthira. And what doubt is there that one will derive bliss from stories of Lord marked with the Shri Vatsa? Say, Bhagavatam literally means the pastime of Lord and his devotees, Lord's devotees. Two type of Bhagavat book and Bhagavat person. And Bhagavata means the pastime of Supreme Lord and his devotees called Ishanu Katha. Ishanu Katha, Supreme Lord and his devotee. For example, there are pastime of Lord Krishna and narration of devotees like Prahlad, Dhruva, Maharaj and Ambarish. Both pastime pertain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because the devotees' pastime are in relation with him. Mahabharata, for example, is the history of Pandava and their activities is sacred because the Pandavas had a direct relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead. So please, what is this principle? Tell me. Pandavas, what is a principle? What this principle is called? Punya Shloka now means Yudhishthira and others. This is called Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha. The principle is called Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha. Whose galaxy tab is making marks on my book? Hare Krishna. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha and what else? Ishanu Katha. Yo Gajendram Jhashaha Grastam Dhyayantam Charnambujam Kroshanti Nam Karane Karenunam Krichato Mochadrutam. The personal God had delivered the king of elephant who was attacked by an alligator and who meditated upon the lotus feet of the Lord. At that time the female elephant who accompanied him were crying, and the Lord saved them from the impending danger. The 35 and 36 together, Chakravarti Pad writes, What grateful person would not worship the Supreme Lord who quickly rescued King of Elephant from the material world when he was caught by the crocodile, while his wives lamented as he meditated on the lotus feet of Lord, and who is willingly worshipped by the sincerely surrendered soul while not worshipped by the crooked. The example of elephant in danger who was saved by Supreme Lord is specially cited here because even if one is an animal, he can approach the personality of Godhead in devotional service, whereas even a demigod cannot approach the Supreme Person unless he is a devotee. Chakravarti Pad writes, The Lord delivered human just by their hearing his pastime, but he even delivered animal just by their remembrance of him. So the Sumran Bhakti can be done by the animals. They cannot hear, but they can do remembrance. Jasa means crocodile. What to speak of delivering the elephant from the crocodile? He delivered the elephant even from the material world. Karenanuna means the female elephant, his wives. One recognizes that Lord is protector of the surrendered soul. One who is grateful should always worship the Lord. He is not worshipped by those who are crooked. Asadhubhi, who surrendered to someone else. Last verse of this section. Tam sukharadhyam rijobhi ananya sharanai niribhi kritanja कृतज्ञः को न सेवेत दुराराध्यम साधुभिः. What grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service to such a great master as the personality of God? The Lord can be easily pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to him for protection, though the unrighteous men find it difficult to propitiate him. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Every living entity, especially person in human race, must feel grateful to the benediction offered by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Anyone, therefore, with a simple heart of gratefulness must be Krishna conscious and offer devotional service to the Lord. Those who are actually thieves and rogues do not recognize or acknowledge the benediction offered to them by the Supreme Lord, and they cannot render him devotional service. So what are the benedictions? Prabhupada writes, ungrateful persons are those who do not understand how much benefit they are deriving by the arrangement of the Lord. What are the benefits? They enjoy the sunshine and moonshine, and they get water free of charge, yet they do not feel grateful, but simply go on enjoying these gifts of the Lord. Therefore, they must be called thieves and rogues. Now, last part of this chapter, Phala Shruti, benefit of hearing this pastime. Yo vai hiranyakashavadham mahadbhutam vipritam karanasukratmanah Shrunoti gayati anumoditi anjasa vimucha brahma badhad api dvija. O Brahmanas, anyone who hears, chants or takes pleasure in wonderful narration of killing of Hiranyaksha demon by the Lord, who appeared as the firstborn in order to deliver the world, is at once relieved from result of all sinful activities, even the killing of a Brahman. Since the personality of Godhead is in absolute position, there is no difference between his pastime and his personality. Anyone who hears about the pastime of the Lord associates with the Lord directly, and one who associates directly with the Lord is certainly freed from all sinful activities, even to the extent of killing a Brahman, which is considered the most sinful activity in the material world. One should be very eager to hear about the activities of the Lord from a bona fide source, the pure devotee. If one simply gives a oral reception to the narration and accept the glories of the Lord, then he is qualified. The impersonalist philosophers cannot understand the activities of the Lord. They think that all his activities are Maya. Therefore, they are called Mayavadis. Since everything to them is Maya, these narrations are not for them. Some impersonalists are reluctant to hear Srimada Bhagvatam, although many of them are now taking an interest in it just for monetary gain. Actually, however, they have no faith. On the contrary, they describe it in their own way. We should not hear, therefore, from the Mayavadis. We have to hear from Sutta Goswami or Maitreya, who actually present the narration as they are. And only then can we relish the pastime of Lord. Otherwise, the effect on the neophyte audience will be poisonous. These verses encourage even those with material desire to listen the pastime. last verse of this chapter. एतन्महापुण्यम् अलम् पवित्रम् धन्यम् यशस्यम् पदमायु आशिषम् प्राणेन्द्रियाणाम् युधि शौर्यवर्धनम् नारायणो अन्ते गति अंगशृण्वताम्. This most sacred narrative confirms extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity, and all the object of one's desire. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's vital organs and organs of action. One who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the abode of the Lord. Oh dear Sonak. Srila Prabhupada writes, devotees are generally attracted by the narratives of the pastime of Lord, even though they do not prosecute austerities or meditation. This very process of hearing attentively about the pastime of the Lord will endow them with innumerable benefits, such as wealth, fame, longevity, and other desirable aims of life. If one continue to hear Srimad Bhagvatam, which is full of narrative of pastime of Lord, at the end of this life, one is sure to be transferred to the eternal tranquil abode of the Lord. Thus, hearers are benefited both ultimately and for the long, and as long as they are in material world. So hearers are double benefited, ultimately and as long as they live on this planet. That is the system, sublime result of engaging in devotional service. That is the sublime result of engaging in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is to spare some time and listen to Srimad Bhagavatam from right source. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended 5 items of devotional service, namely, serve the devotees of the Lord, to chant the Hare Krishna, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, worship deity of the Lord, and to live in a place of pilgrimage. Just performing these 5 activities can deliver one from the miserable condition of material life. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta Purport, 3rd Canto, 19th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Killing of the Demon Hiranyaksh. Hare Krishna. Somehow we have completed our desired goal. Hare Krishna. Any question or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have one question.
Yes.
So, Prabhuji, I was analyzing the 3 lives of Jain which are in the material world. So, I see one trend and I see one exception, Prabhuji. Like, they always try to attack the wife of Lord. I mean, Bhudevi, Sita Mata, or Rukmini Devi. So, is there a reason for this, Prabhuji, that they always try to go behind Bhudevi or Sita Mata or Lord? And second is, Prabhuji, the exception where in the first case the Lord has to appear 2 times to kill the brothers, but in other cases only the same incarnation kills both the brothers. So is there a logic or some reason behind this, Prabhuji, or it is just like happening on as Lord's will?
I think first is a good trend. You said all attacks to the consort of the Lord, because ultimately by the mercy of the consort of the Lord they will be delivered. Because this is interesting. Ravan kidnapped Sita and Rukmani and Shishupal and Bhudevi and Hiranyaksh. So and first time the demons came, so Lord came in 2 incarnations, and then only in 1 incarnation he accomplished to deliver the both brothers, Ravan and Kumbhakarna, and Shishupal and Dandavakar. Even sometime in some scripture, some reference are there. The Kumaras, they came as a Prahlad Maharaj to really help Hiranyaksh to quickly achieve the liberation And again he came as a Vibhishan to help them. But by the time Krishna came, there is no need. So they are delivered automatically. So it's a sweet will of Lord. I think there's a Lord has a desire to fight, so he tried to fight with the two to satisfy his first desire. Then his desire was to have a Vatsalya Prem, then it was sufficient in Ram's avatar. And then he just played with the two, Ravan and Kumbhakarna. Then his desire was more to have equal friends. Then in Krishna's incarnation, just he delivered Shishupal and Dandavakar. That was a very sideline. It was not a man Krishna's purpose actually. That was just a byproduct of some in Dwarka Leela little thing. So Krishna's purpose was not actually. So Vishnu has to come and to reclaim them. So for these two, I don't think there's any purport like that why they attacked the consort of the Lord and why the Lord came first and two incarnation to reclaim and then in one incarnation. This is a demon. Demon means he. One thing only, as I remember, that these three set of demon, they represent Kam, Krodha, Lobh. So Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu, they represent actually the greed, because they are the gold monger Hiranya. The Ravan is a Kam and Shishupal is a Krodha. So the three sets, they are Kam, Krodha, Lobh. They represent that, and that is the door to the hell. Kama, Krodha, Narka, Dwaram. So through these demons actually Lord is teaching that these three activities anybody performs with is going to the royal road to the hell. That is one aspect I have sometime heard about that. But anybody else has to say something about the question asked by Vartudhar?
But I was personally just trying to speculate that before the Kumaras went to the Vaikuntha Lok, Jain Vijay also in some way offended Lakshmi Devi also. So maybe they were trying to kind of do some playful revenge, not like serious, but like a playful revenge on Lakshmi Devi by doing this activity. So I was just thinking, like, because it's all like a planned thing. So I was just thinking like that probably. But I have no.
Yeah, they offended Lakshmi and they are continuing offending Lakshmi. I think Srila Prabhupada philosophically said that usually the people are of the mentality of Ravan, that they want to need Lakshmi, not the Narayan. So that is the demonic nature of the people. So as the demons, they wanted simply to enjoy the Lakshmi of Narayan without Narayan. Any other question or comment?
Sarvabhauma Prabhuji, what you just commented on Kam, Krodha, Lobha. I read this in Srimada Bhagvatam, because we were saying that if Lord is basically killing anyone, they get liberated. Whereas for the two births, they did not get liberated, they just kept going until the end.
No, because they have to come for the three demonic species. Otherwise, Lord killed, they were delivered, but they were not delivered because this was the curse which has to come true.
Right, but the people like the audience, they were like questioning why. So like Bhagavatam has really nice detailed responses on the three forms of the Lord. I know.
Three?
Consciousness.
Still, your answer, what really you want to convey to all that? In Laghu Bhagavatam Amrit, what is written?
Prabhuji, they have touched exactly your point. The low greed, calm,
Yeah.
and growth, and then why the three forms in ISKCON, like it was proven that why is it very important, Lord Narasimha, Lord Rama, and Lord Krishna, and then how progressively like their consciousness developed. Because in the first
Wow.
Hiranyakashipu, they didn't know Lord, they were not even thinking about Lord. Whereas in Ravana and Kumbhakarna, they knew little about the opulence of the Lord. In the first, they didn't even know the form of the Lord, nothing like that. And in the last one, they knew everything. They knew the form of the Lord, they knew the opulence of the Lord, and then the anger. And it's beautiful the way, so you just reminded me of that entire section.
Okay, that's also good way. Okay. I think first the first time you have your children going out, you have to be more careful, go twice, watch twice. But second time now you know that they are okay. Now they have trained as a demon, so one is okay. So Lord was more concerned first time for his associates, so he came separately twice. But after that he thought now they are trained as the demons, so no problem. I alone can once only go and have my pastime there. Okay, this is more affection of the Lord. Any other question or comment? No, okay. So anyway, we completed this in a due course of time. I
So,
was
Prabhuji, can we take like 5 or 10 minutes? I'll request the students if they would like to thank Prabhuji sharing something about the class.